I
Yeah.
think I definitely want to like create Black stories that, I've never got to experience with, like stories that I
Mm.
particularly enjoy. I don't really like try to focus on like the outcomes or the output, like who is it for and everything like that. A lot of the stories I make are usually for me, to be honest with you. And whoever likes it, they like it. And if they don't, they don't. Like it is what it is.
Hold
But
on. I gotta come up for air because I'm just jotting that down because that's a gem. Okay, y'all.
yeah.
You're doing it for you. I have to say this because there's confusion floating out there. Okay. Who are we doing this for? Why are we doing this? Artists, creatives, and designers. I'm your host, Electra, and welcome to Dream Aloud Art, where we have educating, inspiring, and motivating conversations with creatives from around the world. Show some love and support by subscribing, liking this video, and uplift another creative by sharing this video. Let's tune in to another amazing conversation. Let's go. Artists, creatives, and designers, welcome to Dream Aloud Art on YouTube. It's your girl Electra, aka Dream. And yo, we have a very special guest today. It is the one and only Christian Mack. Now, hold on, because I know some of y'all are new to Christian Mack. Okay, well, Christian Mack is a Black freelance artist from Brooklyn, New York. Whoop, whoop. Okay, I'm not from Brooklyn, but I have ties in Brooklyn. I got family in out there in New York. Okay, but anyway, he definitely loves to draw illustrations that involve Black characters and tell stories about Black characters. And we are going to dive into all that today. All right. But y'all know how we do. We go a few levels deeper in here. You know, we talk about the full scope of being a creative, being an artist in every way. So y'all clap it up for Christian Mack. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. It's such an honor to be here. I appreciate the opportunity, to be here and, obviously to get
Mm.
interviewed by someone like you. So
I
I'm looking forward to
appreciate
this.
you. Oh my gosh, I appreciate you. I just want to say this just so everyone is clear for anyone who has like never watched an interview. I only have interviews with artists that I truly admire. You know what I'm saying? So like if I don't have that energy, like the energy needs to be genuine. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, oh my gosh. Yeah. Okay. So there's so much we're going to dive into today. And Christian even shared something earlier where it's like, oh, like I can't wait to actually talk about that. And it has to do with some projects and things, and we'll dive into that. So, give us an idea, Christian, of your upbringing when it comes to what you currently do now. Have you always been interested, intrigued when it comes to uh, comic style characters in general? Like, what has that looked like for you, especially as a child into your teenage years? If it
Well,
was
I would
there.
say, I would say for the most part, I was always into cartoons. I was always growing up
Mm,
watching animes, growing up playing video games and everything. There are many like family members, my cousin, that kind of like introduced me this sort of
okay.
like entertainment and pop culture in this. And I would say, if anything, the art sort of started with my dad because my dad is an
Mm,
artist
mm.
and he's also draw. Now, if you can see
Shout outs to
the,
Dad.
the Captain America painting, like right far in the back, that's actually his painting that's hung up.
Come
So
on.
yeah,
Shout out to the father. Shout out to
yeah.
Dad.
So
That's
the thing is
awesome.
that my dad, he wanted to be a comic book artist as well. He definitely wanted to like break into the industry, but unfortunately,
Mm,
pregnancy and all that kind of stuff, and he didn't really couldn't really dedicate to it. But his talent sort of passed down to my talent, and I just sort of inherited it. And I've been drawing ever since I was a kid. I've been always fascinated with like
mm,
art itself. Like I remember like, I would like Google like deviant art and everything, like look up like pictures of like art that is made by comic book artists or manga artists, and then try to like
mm.
replicate those drawings and stuff like that. Like, and I was a very huge like Marvel fan. I really like Godzilla and all that kind of stuff.
Oh,
So
yeah, me
yeah,
too. Me too. I was like, ah. Okay.
yeah, and I guess like how I really got into it
Mm-hmm.
professionally, I guess because I went to a high school, Gramercy Art High School, and I graduated there. Of course, many
Okay.
people recognize my talent. They already see like the talent in me and everything
They
like
see
that.
it. Right,
Yeah,
right.
and I was trying to figure out like what college I would go to. Unfortunately, there wasn't really any college that like was focused on the particular thing I wanted to do because I
Mm,
graphic art, illustrations, concept art.
mm-hmm.
So I wanted to do like storyboarding, all that stuff. But like
Right.
I guess it was FIT, but they only offer for like 1 year. But then I came upon a new
Okay.
school that was called the Kubert School. Gerald Kubert School, the School of Cartooning and Graphic Art. And
Mm.
it's a very well-known school amongst the comic book industry. Many professional artists, professional comic book artists have graduated there, such
Oh,
as
that sounds
Mark,
amazing.
Fernando Ruiz,
Oof.
Michael Krieger, then you have Adam Kuber, Andy Kuber, they graduate there. Then you have Tom Mandrake, Mandrake family, they worked in that school as well. So many professional artists that worked and established in the industry that taught
Yeah.
me all the tricks, all the tips, taught me all the basics, all the fundamentals, every foundation of what it takes to make graphic art. I learned
Right.
from them. And,
My
at first,
gosh.
going into like I was like say second years and I was like struggling like grasping these kind of concepts, but by the time I
Right.
graduated and I kind of like started doing my own thing, it just started coming to me like quickly. Like I was like, oh, so that's how you do the thing, that's how you draw it.
What do you mean? What started coming to you that initially was a challenge?
I would say for the
Set up
most
for
part,
us.
like the a lot of like the most important things like composition, foreshortening,
Mm.
basically like how design elements, designing rules, like the golden ratio, all the things, storyboarding, uh
Okay.
like
Okay. So that started to become really clear to you.
yeah, it started becoming
Okay.
really clear to me once I
Mhm.
started like experimenting and started
Right.
like exploring like different art and everything like that. And now I'm kind
Mm.
of at the point where like I'm more confident and secure in my art style. Because back then
Um,
I didn't really have
huh.
an art style. I didn't know like what my art is until, I just started drawing
Right.
and drawing more. And then I finally and
Mm.
came up with my art style. And I
Let's
was like, well, I guess this is just how I draw now. So
now
now.
hold on. Now Christian, you've come across a few things that are challenges to, I will say specifically artists who, and you're doing black comics, right? And so I have seen, I mean, countless artists out here who want to do that, right?
Right.
Or who are
Mhm.
doing it. They're doing it, but they still don't feel like they're actually doing it, right?
Right.
Whatever that looks like, right? There's some of these challenges and doubts that they're having within. And
I feel the
so
same
I'm
way.
okay. And so, and I feel like, and this is where we're going to go like levels deep, but because I feel like there is, when you are, even when you're confident, because I speak on confident artists, or being a confident artist rather, but I speak on that subject a lot to artists. Even when you are very confident about where you're at, if you have the desire to grow, then there is an element of never being fully satisfied, right? Not to your own detriment, but you want to like continue growing and striving. But I want to rewind, and I'm so glad you shared your background and what that evolution has been.
Mhm.
Child from being a child, and having art in your family, artists in your family, and all of that into school. But I want to
Mhm.
touch on a few things that I know that artists really need to hear from you. Getting confident about finding your style. Okay. A lot of
Mhm.
artists that I've seen, even artists that have been working on black comics, they I've had lots of conversations about this, but they want to draw or design or create whatever the way someone else does it, right?
Right.
But so they want to do it a certain way, but how can they grow into appreciating what they can create? So it's like, well, I want to mirror this artist over here. How can they grow more confident in
I was
finding their own style? Do you feel like that's a matter of experimenting or trying? This is the self-doubt that is floating out there. So what is your perspective or your experience with that?
I would say it's a matter of both. I mean, granted,
Okay.
like, it's not universal, so every artist is gonna
Sure.
have from the experience. But I would say
Yes.
for me particularly, it's a matter of both. It's also like kind of just understanding, like not just, you look at art, what the artist does, and just like, I'm gonna copy that. Like you just break it down structure by structure. Like
Mm-hmm.
back then, I used to struggle with the concept of reference because I didn't really know what reference even mean. I just thought it's like, oh, you just look at it and you just copy. But no,
Right.
reference is actually like deconstructing from layers and layers and understanding how
Mm-hmm.
the art is put together. Like, you know what I mean? The more you understand the ins and outs of certain things, whether it be with a body, whether it be with a building, whether it be an artifact or a firearm or a car, the better you understand
Mm-hmm.
how everything is structured, the better that you can actually draw it and put it on paper.
Come
So that's
on.
the
That's
way
so true. That is
yeah,
so
so
true.
that I sort of like apply that to like art. Like I was like, okay, like how did he color this? You know what I mean? Like, and I was just like, oh, okay, so that's how he got the color. So let me see if I could like replicate that sort of gradient or that sort of lighting or that shade or anything like that. Or I
That
see an
makes sense.
artist that has like a certain ink style. I was like, okay, let me see. I could take that ink style, that ink texture that he have, and sort of apply it to my drawing and see like if it works and
Mm,
everything like that. I think
that's
part of
good.
how I was able to produce a lot of art. It's just I was able to what do you call it? I was able to like see what the artist is doing, see what choices they're make, and then it's just like, okay, I can see why they made these choices. So I'm gonna try to make those same choices as well. And that's kind of like how I put it all together. But yeah,
Mm.
I think it's a matter of both. But like as you're like, you're kind of mimicking and other stuff like that, you're gonna start to learn certain things. And you're just like, oh, like let me just apply that with my own thing and then see, like you'll borrow some tricks. Like it just comes with you. Like it
Put your
just,
own spin on it.
yeah, it just you
Yeah.
pick it up like automatically. So it just comes with you. I was like,
Mm.
okay, so I guess this is just what I like. So,
Woo, okay, wait, hold on. I don't know if you realize just how fire that is. And I'm diligently taking notes on the gems that are being dropped here, okay? But at least what stood out to me big time is that certain things will come natural to
right.
you and to allow it to just be natural. If you're in the midst of creating something and you feel the stagnation or you even feel like this is a frustrating moment, knowing the difference between whether it's frustrating and you need to perhaps refine what you're doing, or is it frustrating because it doesn't feel natural, it feels like you're going against what's natural for you. That is big. I feel like some artists really needed to hear that, because I know a lot of artists are out there and they have these, creative blocks and all of this verbiage, but I feel like a lot of it links to just not doing what fits you and not accepting that, just not accepting. But again, that's something that each one of us we have to just decide, like, what
Right.
what does this resistance mean? What does it
Right.
mean?
Yeah,
That's so
I would
good.
say for the most part, like the way I look at art nowadays,
Mm-hmm.
like the back then, it's like this is just science to me. It's like math, basically. It's geometry, it's trigonometry. For other people, for people who aren't artists, it's magic. It's just fantasy. So
I knew it would come out, y'all. It's in his vibe. I knew it would come out, and I cannot wait to dive into your Instagram too. And we're gonna look at some of your work here in a little bit. But you got me going. I wrote down like a bunch of stuff. I got a bunch of notes over here. I'm taking good notes because I'm a student. I'm still a student in the game, y'all.
okay.
So, all right, Christian, we're gonna segue a little bit into challenges and some of the struggles as a creative, whether they're struggles that you've experienced or something that you see that's kind of common among creatives. So what have been some of the largest challenges that, again, either you experienced or you've seen others around you go through?
I would say the like nowadays, I would say like especially in the age of modern era and technology is getting the exposure.
Mm,
And sometimes like that could be very detrimental. It's funny enough, like I just saw a TikTok recently and this Asian person was talking about it and he
mm,
mentioned how it's just like, find a way to celebrate your art rather than just, using social media outlet to celebrate it. Like find a way to celebrate without heavily relying
Mm.
on the engagement and stuff like that. Because sometimes that could be very disheartening, like, and it could like take a toll on you. It could like, take
Yes.
a stab at your ego. And then it just kind of like makes you wonder, like, yo, is this even worth it? Like,
Yeah.
is putting a lot of work into it? Like, cause like, what's the point of like, putting yourself out there and being an artist if no one is not going to see it? So like,
Right.
I
Right.
would say that's the biggest struggle I would say that's the biggest thing that's like very common, amongst a lot
Mm.
of artists, you know what I mean? Because it's not easy, especially like the way how these algorithms are designed,
Yeah.
like, and unfortunately, the way how they see art, it's not to them, it's not organic. It's
Mm.
they want people with personality, but for some reason, people post art to them that's not personality. So, and I don't know why that is, but I
Now,
guess
what do you
that's
mean? You said to them, it's not personality. Them is who?
I would say like people who design the algorithm. I would say people,
Oh, that's what you said.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Mm.
or how like the algorithm itself. I would say if that's the right
Mm.
terminology. Like
Yeah.
it's not personal. Like when you see a social media influencer, you see character, you see like
Mm.
layers, you see transparency. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
If you're an artist that just posts your art, according to the algorithm, that's not
I know. I know.
personality.
No, no,
Yeah, and but
you are 100% right, hands down. And before I dive into that part, I want to say I think that's absolutely true, about celebrating the wins offline, if you will,
right,
because something that I teach artists is that you like, before you have these desires in the social media world, it's so critical for you personally to know why you're doing this. Like why you're doing this,
mhm,
and can you at least have that foundation? This is what I'm doing, this is why I'm doing this. Because if you're starting, because I've seen that where they're starting to create for reaction
right,
rather than what actually fits them, or the N word we used earlier, natural, that
right,
N word, what's most natural to them. Because a lot, when you get, and I've been there as an artist, I used to do graphic illustrations and I used to do fan art and all of that. So I was writing all kinds of ways with trends and it burned me out. I never recommend that. And so
right.
that's so, so true. Having to do with the whole algorithm situation, wholeheartedly agree. Like I stay updated. Artists laugh at me, but it's all good because we have conversations about it, because I stay on top of learning about what's going on with Instagram. Like what's
Yeah,
the whole algorithm thing? What is it looking for? And you are 100% right. They are looking for some of that, yeah,
and
character,
personality.
personality, all of that. And
Yeah.
so
It's
it's
kind of
it's
like
that's what I teach. That's what I teach artists, is that, yeah, you're going to have to show yourself in most of your 99.9% of your
yeah. I would say like the best example, the best analogy I can go with this is like think of it
yeah.
like you're setting up a dating profile. Like, are you
I,
just gonna put nothing
that's
but art?
that's exactly what I say. Go ahead. That is exact,
Like,
hands down.
are you
I
just gonna
say the
put
same
art
thing.
and just expect a woman to like match you or a man to match you or a partner? Like, no, like you gotta put yourself out there
Yeah,
and see
put your
like
best foot forward, because that's all that, y'all, you heard it right here, right now, from Krista Mack and from Dream. Okay, we teaming up on this one, y'all. Facts. Instagram is looking for that face. They're looking for you to mainly the face. I'm keeping it real. Talking head, demonstration, full body movement. That's engaging. And caption, just so y'all know. Okay, make sure y'all add some captions.
Mhm.
Make sure you add them captions. Y'all want them views. I'm just keeping it real. But yeah, overall, I'm glad you share that about a challenge. It is. Social media has really, yes, it has really enhanced the growth for a lot of creatives out here, so I will say that, but it also has presented different challenges with perspective and what we should be doing and all of those thoughts.
Yeah,
So yeah. So thank you for sharing that.
no problem.
Something else, you had mentioned, of course, that your father was an artist, which is
Mhm.
amazing. What has, so I'm not going to just make the assumption, I'm still going to at least just ask about it, but what has the support system looked like, whether that's in your family and your circle? What has that support system looked like, and how is that critical to your growth?
I would say my support system, I would say for the most part, it's my mom that does the support system because my mom
Okay,
was always
cool.
there for me. I think
Oh,
for the
good.
most
Mhm.
part, I told my family, like, this is what I want to do. And they always know I've been drawing since I was a kid. They kind of
Mm,
see it. They see the drive, they see the passion, they see it. And then all I had to do was just show them the business side of it. I just had to show them it's like you can make money off of this. And then once they see it, they were like, yeah,
yeah,
we can see it now. Like we can support you now. So, like
that's good.
they put me in like the different art classes, look up for different art school. There was time they even pair me with other artists just so like I can learn off of
Mm,
them and apply to my
mm.
thing. There's also times like where they recommend like certain events. It's like, yo, why don't you exhibit here? Maybe, you could probably get your name out there and stuff like that though. So like, again,
That's
like
good.
they're a little bit slow because they don't really know necessarily how the industry works though,
Right.
but
All
they're
the
trying.
details. Right.
Yeah, but they're trying. You know what I
That's
mean? They're very
good.
supportive. And honestly, like, I'm very grateful that I have a very support system that's able to do what I do because it's not every day that every artist I like that. I've heard stories about how artists have to leave their family and like,
Oh,
broke, struggling,
yeah.
to make
Yeah.
ends meet, get a second or
Yeah.
third job to like
Very true.
use the stuff they want, so it's
Mhm.
just it sucks, you know what I mean? So
Right.
it sucks for them, but I'm very grateful that I have
Yeah,
a support
absolutely.
and people who believe in my craftsmanship. So
Right, right. Oh, I'm so glad. I'm so glad to hear that. And I want to touch on what you had just mentioned about sharing the business side of things.
mhm.
Okay. All right. All right. Artists, listen up. Y'all gotta listen up. Okay. I'm just saying, y'all gonna have me hollering. Christian got me hollering. Okay. Now, this is where when in a lot of situations, okay, again, y'all, I've talked to a lot of artists, I've consulted a lot of artists, and I have taught a lot of artists, okay?
Mhm.
When there is resistance from, say, the people that love you, you love them, they care for you, all that, okay? Sometimes they just need to get clarity on what you're about to step into, okay?
Right,
And if they are questionable about that, sometimes it's just coming from a loving place. Okay.
right.
It's, I'm just saying because there's,
Mhm.
I've heard of the whole like, oh, they're not supporting me. Why are they hating on me? It's like, sometimes they just need some clarity, and to keep it real, you need clarity too, like, so
Right.
to get really clear on what it is that you're trying to do. You don't have to come up with the perfect game plan from the off the bat, but
Mhm.
still say, okay, just be clear about it for yourself to begin with. And
Yeah.
when that also, I feel like that also helps your confidence, so it's
Yeah,
like,
it
okay,
does.
cool.
Absolutely. Yeah. And like coming from my experience, I have
Mhm.
seen and I've grew up with many artists who are way better artists than I am, draws way better than I am. And
Right.
honestly, like they could be out here doing the same thing I'm doing, but like they would be getting
Mm,
recognition. But the
mm,
thing about this kind of industry is that it takes a lot of toll on people. And it's like, if you
mm.
don't have that drive, if you don't have that passion, this industry will kill you. Like it will make you stop being an artist. That's the kind of industry it is. You will be burnt out very quickly. And I seen this happen to everyone, man. And it sucks.
Ugh,
There's a lot of people I know who are like fantastic artists, but they just kind of,
but
I'm not really into that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, oh, this such and such just kind of killed it for me. So I was like, that
mm,
sucks. But, like, they're happy now. They're doing their own thing. But, it just kind of sucks to see them like, not flourish in their talent, you know what I mean? And
right.
not to the next level. But they're doing their own thing. So
Yeah.
at
But
least they're
that's so good. That is facts, hands down, about passion. And
yeah.
that's why let's go back to the doing what's, natural for you even before social
Mhm.
media. You have to really love that, like it is your lifeline. Okay. And
Right.
I have a quote that I would say I've posted a few
Mhm.
times about You have to create like your life depends on it, because it does. But you
Right.
have to actually feel like it does. Like you have to feel like, what would I be doing if it wasn't for this? Like I love what I do, because when you have those rough times, and trust me, they will come, okay? They will come, whether it's just your self-doubt or whatever, or rough times financially, or you're
Right.
not making sales, or you haven't landed that dream job with that company. You will have those times that will really test you and say, is this really what I want to do? And if the answer is yes,
Mhm.
that that's when you know it's real. But trust, if you pivot easy, then it probably isn't meant for you right now. It's all
Right.
good. It's all love. But yeah, I'm so glad that you shared that. You got to have that passion. And
Yeah,
again,
yeah.
if it ain't for you, just know it ain't for you.
Yeah, no, like
At least not
exactly.
right now.
Like
Yeah.
I said, yeah, like also like, and I forgot to mention this, but
Go
in the
ahead.
Cuban school,
Say it,
uh,
Christian. Say it.
yeah,
Speak.
in the Cuban school, like I said, we have so many talent artists, but what
Mm.
it's known for its reputation, like a lot of people drop out of there. Like, what I mean?
Ah,
Usually it's roughly around second years when people start dropping out because it start the question whether they can really handle, the work ethic of being an artist or not. You know what I mean? Like there was time when I was just like, okay, I guess like I can stick it out and just see how it goes. So, you know what I mean? It's like, man, I was at the point where I was like, I really hate the way I draw. Like I do not like the way I draw and anything, but I would just stick it out because I just love drawing. You know what I mean?
right.
But I
Okay.
guess for other people, like that, they didn't have that. So I guess it's just like,
Mm,
like I'm out. Like I'm not
mm,
doing it. So
mm.
it
Yeah.
happened.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. And I was mentioning about, like, just on this same point about it may not be for you right now, so if it ain't for you at this moment, like that's
Mhm.
important too. I'm all about, I am definitely about that too. If it's just not for you right now and you're just real about it with yours, just be honest and take a
Mhm.
step back, leave, drop out, whatever that situation looks like. Yeah, because maybe it's just not for you at the moment,
Right.
but it might be for you at another time, so just keep it real with yourself.
Yeah, no, and
Oh.
that's okay. Yeah, there's some people I know who's like, who's in their like late 30s and late 40s who are like now trying to break into the industry. And it's cool like, to
Mm-hmm.
see people like that like discover their
Yep.
passion and it's like, oh,
Yep.
like I'm actually good at this. Like I think I should try to explore this thing. So, it's always
Yeah.
cool to see that,
Yeah.
honestly.
It's a beautiful thing. It really is. We have some respect the artist members. For those that those that are very new to that verbiage, you just click in the links below. And I'm also going to say this too after I mentioned clicking the link below. But if you click in the link below, then you'll see RTA, respect the artist, and we're an artist community. But yes, we have had a lot of members that are stepping back into the stride of their creativity, and it's just like, for me, it's like a breath of fresh air. It's like, oh gosh, yes, I'm so glad. I'm so glad, that they're like, yeah, they're embracing it now, even though they may have taken a hiatus. I've taken a hiatus for years, so I do know what that feels like for sure. And so I was going to say, that being said, I don't even know if that being said, we're going to dive into your work here. let's dive
Okay.
into your work. But yeah, I definitely appreciate. Yeah, I have to. So something you have to understand about me, Christian Mack, is that like I get really, because I'm so passionate about this, I'll get really excited, and then I have to like be mindful of the time, because I'm like, okay, we're never going to get to his work if I just keep diving deeper and deeper here.
It's okay.
But but I want to say this about Christian's Instagram. So to some of those who follow me on Instagram, and you've jumped on lives, and I would be giving you courses and things like that. I look for the what I look for on an artist's Instagram is the same thing that I teach y'all, and one of those big things is consistency.
Yeah.
Okay, so I will look, like, when I first look at Christian Mack's Instagram, I immediately scroll to like the previous 9 to 12 posts. And if I quickly get an idea of what he does and it matches up with what's in the bio, come on,
Right.
y'all, I'm paying attention. Okay, like I'm actually going to pay attention. Like, those are some very simple things. Somebody needs to jot that down. What you got in your bio, am I seeing it? Like that's the when people like that, you only have like 2.5, maybe less than that seconds to make that initial impression, just like the dating profile, right? So
Right.
we see a face, we see what Christian Mack looked like, okay, and then we look in the bio, and does the previous post match? Okay,
Right.
legit. I'm paying attention. Okay, all right, y'all. So yeah, Christian also has some very exciting projects, and we are going to dive into that. So stay tuned. And once again, I had mentioned about the links, y'all. Make sure you click all the links in the bio. Support Christian Mack, okay, on his continued journey here. And stay tuned because he's got some good stuff. He's got fire for y'all. Give him a follow on Instagram, okay? Give him a follow, like, do the likes, do the comments, and all of that, and do it from a genuine place, okay? All right, so I'm gonna just look first. I'm gonna look at your pinned um posts here, and I'm wondering if this is so. We have this character. I'm
Oh,
I'm gonna pass the mic to you, okay? I'm instead of me
okay.
trying to like explain the character. So I'm gonna, and y'all, if you're listening on the podcast, make sure that you watch the YouTube video so you can get the visuals, okay? Because you know we all about visuals. So tell us a little bit about this character here. It's like so. I want to. Well, I'll. Here's my request. My request is that okay, explain some of these characters, but I'm also curious about the segue into the Black characters too, where they come into play. And so I'm just saying that as you explain things, okay? All
Okay.
right. So y'all, this is if you're tuning in on the podcast, this is huge purple character with these big arms, and this is it sounds weird for me to describe it. So go watch the YouTube video. All right, so tell us a little bit about this character here.
So this is actually what you're looking at is actually one of the boss of the video game slash comic book that I'm kind of making called Colorland. And
Oh,
Colorland is about this it's a story about a bunch of these kids that was able to find this magical fantasy land, like a safe
okay.
space for BIPOC kids. But then this main character named Darte Inferno, who basically discovered that Colorland is not this safe space that it is. Like he discovered this very dark secret, and then he
Oh.
found out very quickly that a lot of these these puppets, these Muppets slash like stuffed animal creatures
Mm.
are not like these lovable creatures they are. They're actually like nightmarish creature. And
Oh.
a lot of inspirations from several animes and shows such as Promise Neverland, Coraline, definitely Resident Evil, I would say probably Dino Crisis as well. A lot
Mm.
of games like that, like a lot of like different things, multimedia, like Five Nights at Freddy, put them all together into like one combination thing. And plus also like I'm a very big advocate for diversity and representation. So I was just like, oh,
Okay.
let me just do Resident Evil with Black people in it because I always wanted
Mm.
a evil game. So
Okay. I'm with it. Well, that's okay. All right. So tell me. So wait a second. Now you mentioned a few things that I didn't expect to get I didn't expect to hear because now it's gonna like shift my mind in a different direction.
right.
So this character, you said that you're working on, and you'll have to repeat it for me again, okay? Because I do not want to mess up your verbiage, but this is a character from what is it that you're working on?
Colorland.
Okay.
KOLOR land.
Okay, so Color Land. So tell us a little about Colorland to begin with. Like like at what point are you with creating that? What was the inspiration? Or did you just dive a
Oh,
little more into that inspiration that you just shared? Because
so
I feel
the
like I got some from that too.
yeah, so the inspiration comes from mainly Five Nights at Freddy,
Okay,
Coraline,
right.
Resident Evil. Um, let's see, I want to say Dino Crisis and like a couple other ones like Poppy Playtimes and all that stuff. Like a mixture of like different animes, cartoons, and like,
Mm,
video games
I love it.
put all into like one because like I'm a very huge pop culture advocate, so like I take inspiration
You
from a lot
sound like it.
of
Right.
like
Yeah.
yeah, I do. And then
This
I
is
just try
awesome.
to incorporate it into like my stories and like try to make it like my own thing and put like a spin to it, so.
Okay, so where is Colorland as far as like what can I do as a viewer to like support you with like at the stage of Colorland and what like where is it right now? That's what I want to like where
Right now, I'm just trying to like sort out the characters and like draw
okay,
everything. But you can
that's
support me on
pending.
my Patreon, where I post a lot of my work in progress, like some of the
Mm,
story details of the characters and of the things they can do and all that kind of stuff, though. So yeah, you can like support me
okay.
here if you wanted to.
I love that.
No pressure for anyone like that, but yeah, like
But it's there, y'all. The link is gonna be in the description. So y'all it is what it is, right? Look.
Yeah, it is what it is.
Okay,
So.
I hear y'all artists talking about artist support. This now's your time to shine, supporters.
Right.
Okay, but yeah, that's really good. It's actually very exciting. And some of y'all know some of y'all have seen my interviews for years, and so I get really hype when I see comic work for some reason. I'm not sure. Maybe I don't know. I mean, I love comics, but I'm not sure what it is about like black characters and things like that. What can you share? Because of course I do want to share some of your work, but what can you share about now I know to some it may be like obvious like why you do black characters, right? But is there anything else that you want to share of why it's so important to you to do black characters in comics?
So funny story how this happened. I guess I was at like a convention one day. I think it
Mhm.
was the Garden State Comic Con, and like a couple of black
Love
people.
Comic Cons.
Yeah, and a couple black people who were basically just there. They were just looking all of my prints and stuff like that, and he was just like, "Yo, you don't have any like black characters or anything?" I was like, "Nah, man, I'm sorry." And it's like, "Oh," and he just felt so disappointed, and I was kind of like, "Damn, like I didn't mean to disappoint." So it made me like kind of question, like, I can draw black characters, but I don't really create black characters like that, and I've always wanted to
Mhm.
create my story. It's just like at the time, I just never put a lot of effort and energy to it. So I just decided, like, you know what? Let me just like dedicate into creating my own original project and, start, working on a lot of like my original stuff. So I started like, tuning out a lot of like black drawings, black characters and
Mm.
black story. The first one I started out with was my original project was Brooklyn Samurai because I wanted to make my own fighting game. I wanted to make my
Ah.
own like fighting game that's in a lot of like diverse characters, particularly black characters. So like
Mm.
the game itself takes inspiration from games like Street Fighter, Tekken, Sam Show, King of Fighters, a lot of games like back in
Gosh.
the 90s and stuff. So I was
Mm.
like, okay, let me just make my own black video games with black character. And then I just started like having more ideas, more ideas, more ideas, and then I started
Uh-huh.
shooting out more black characters and not, so and reason why I create black characters is because as a kid, I never really got to grow up with those stories. So, I
Yeah.
think I definitely want to like create black stories that I've never got to experience with, like stories that I
Mm.
particularly enjoy. I don't really like try to focus on like the outcomes or the output, like who is it for and everything like that. A lot of the stories I make are usually for me, to be honest with you. And whoever likes it, they like it, and if they don't, they don't. Like it is what it is.
Hold
But
on. I gotta come up for air because I'm just jotting that down because that's a gem. Okay, y'all.
yeah,
You're doing it for you. I have to say this because there's confusion floating out there. Okay. Who are we doing this for? Why are we doing this?
right,
Like this goes back to that passion and what I had mentioned earlier about even myself,
yeah.
following trends, following trends, following trends, and that led to burnout. So that is so critical. I love that. I know it's simply put, and it does not sound bad at all. It's spot on.
Right.
That's fulfillment for you. And for those that gravitate to that familiar energy, everything else hits different when you're doing it from like genuine truth. Like that you're doing that for your fulfillment. Hands down. Yeah. Woo, you don't got me started. Okay, I'm trying to calm down. Trying to calm down.
It's okay. Yeah, but like I said, it's just like I think one thing I kind of realized, and I've thought about this recently, is just that I understand that,
Mhm.
representation isn't necessarily going to be universal. Every
Yeah.
Black person is going to have different ideas of how Black people are going to be represented. So,
Yeah,
I
very
think I
true.
kind of have to like learn to live with that and just understand like the stuff that I make isn't going to be like the standard or the ladder of Black representation. I think it's just more so like, I think it's just more so like, let me just create this, let this exist, what I mean? And if people
Hmm.
like it, they like it. And if they don't, they don't. Like as long as like that story can exist and people can have access to it, that's really all that matters to me. So like just as long as
Yeah.
it's out there, you know what I mean? Like hell, I would be
Mm.
happy if some other Black artist like takes the stuff that I make and they say, I can do better, because it's like cool. I inspire him to do that. That's awesome. So
Right. Yeah, they can build off of that and then continue to find what works best for them. Because
yeah.
ultimately, I mean, that's what we doing. We're like, no,
Right.
there can't possibly be two. So you're here for you, do you, boo, and all those good things. I'm just saying, like, I'm gonna calm down. I have to, Christian. I have to because we gotta like flow. Well, I want to go ahead and I want to jump back to your Instagram, at least touch bases on it, and talk about another character, at least one that really stands out to me. So, and again, if y'all are tuning in on the podcast, y'all need to go ahead and watch that YouTube video and watch me give some live likes there. All right, so this character here, can you tell us about this character? And y'all,
So
I don't even want to describe the character. It's hard to describe them. You have the visuals, you got to see the visuals.
so
He's got
funny enough,
fire red eyes and all this, so check it out, y'all.
that's the character from an old 90s Capcom game called Darkstalkers. I do this thing for my
uh,
Patreon where I create illustration series, and a lot of the time it's like, oh, like let me do like an entire series of like these characters or monster or creature because I have a knack
Mhm.
for drawing like giant kaijus and creatures and monsters and stuff. I've done one for Monster Hunter, I've done one for Ben 10, I've done one for Pokemon as well. And I've also done one with Five Nights at Freddy. And just
Oh,
recently I've been doing this thing where it's just like, oh, like let's say, for example, there's this game called Power Stone, which that's a
okay.
game I work with, but there's only been like Power Stone 1 and 2. So I was just like, okay, like how cool would it be if there was a Power Stone 3? So I was just like, man, like that would be so awesome. But I was like, wait, I'm an artist. I can draw these things out. So then that's what I started doing. I just started drawing what would it look like, started like redesigning them, giving a
Oh my
little
gosh.
edge to my look. And that's actually what I'm doing here. This is actually the fourth installment of Dark Stalkers and see what would that look like and like what would these characters be portrayed and stuff like that. So right now I'm kind of like definitely getting into the series. So I'm like four characters in. There's still
Okay.
a long way to go, but like I'll get it done in no time. I'm a pretty fast artist, so
Okay, I love it. Okay, so you unpacked a lot, and I have a whole lot of questions too. This is why I do what I do because it comes very natural.
Mhm.
I love to ask questions. Okay. So I know this is it's gonna sound like a whole plug and it needs to. Okay. It needs to be a whole shameless plug. So because I'm curious about the Patreon. So you said that this is linked to something that you do on your Patreon. Is
Yeah.
that is is that what you had just shared about? Like, what would this character look like in this stage, in this
Yeah.
phase, in this setting? And then you create that.
This is just my original spin. I just wanted to like
Mhm.
create like my own version of this character and stuff like that because like, these companies they have like these cool characters, these cool franchise and they just don't do anything with them and they're so popular and they have like a huge fan base and it's like man, it's like, what are you guys doing? So I guess this is just my kind of satisfying my inner fanboy. I guess this is just my way of saying, like, hey, like this is what I want Power Stone 3 to
Right.
look like. This is Darkstalkers 4, I think should look like. So,
Yeah.
you know, that's just the reason why
No,
I kind of designed that way. So
I love that. I love that because I'm just gonna say it, y'all. That's a money idea. Okay, it really is, and it's actually sounds extremely fun to just be like, well, what would this character look like, and create that excitement for the people who already gravitate like to your content and what you create,
right.
and you're like, okay. or taking ideas from, or not taking ideas, but putting something out there to your supporters and saying, what would y'all like to see? Hey, I'm curious, what would you like to see? And if it resonates with you, then create that behind, a support wall, if you will, a paywall, but whatever. The point is that you are creating a space where they're interested and they want to tune in. So that's what's up. I need that Patreon link. Okay. And so that link is going to be in the description too. Listen, y'all, come on. I'm just saying, like, that's a whole experience. And I would be curious to check that out. That's very cool. Oh my gosh, Christian Mack, you have unpacked so much and you have given us so much good stuff. And we could be on here for a good minute. We really could. And we're still continuing in the meantime. No, I know. Yeah, but we are definitely continuing in the meantime here. So tell us about tell us about your current project or some recent projects that you've finished, or perhaps a book of some sort. Let's dive into anything you want to share along those lines.
All right. So recently I have published an art book called Wild Imagination, the art of Christian Mack. And I guess the reason why like I finally decided to publish is
Wild
because
Imagination.
my family members and my friends, they were kind of getting on me. There was just like, dude, like, why don't you just publish a book? I was like, I don't know. I don't think I'm ready yet. Like, I don't know. I feel like I'm not at that level yet. It's like, but dude, you create so much artwork, you push out so much content.
Mm,
It's like you have enough to make a book. And I was just like, so it was just more like I just didn't know what would that look like. I just didn't have the tools to do that. You know what I mean? And plus, you
mm,
got to take into account the money and everything like that.
yeah.
Until I discovered Mimeo Photos, and I was just like, oh, like I have access to this stuff. So I started started to organize the design and everything like that. I started to
Mm.
like attach the thing, attach my artwork, like sort of design it, lay it out a bit, and then I was just like, suddenly I was just done already. And right now I'm currently working on my second art book called Dark Fantasy, and that's going to be coming out soon. I have a couple of artworks to get
Oh my
done
gosh.
first,
Oh my
but that
goodness.
would be coming out soon.
Mm. Okay. Oh, all right. So can we get a little, or we have to purchase that book before we could get a little just a quick preview?
You can
By
get
any
a
chance? I
sneak
want to get
peek.
a preview.
All right,
A little.
so this is like my Godzilla versus Kong
Oh
print,
my gosh.
and these are the
Ah,
prints.
that is clean. Oh, that's a clean book. Oh my gosh. Y'all, if you're tuning in on the podcast, I need for
So
you to go to the YouTube and check out these clean images. Look at that. Oh my gosh. Woo.
as you can see,
That's fire.
and
That's fire. Y'all, links. Get active
then
with
you
those
can skip
links for
over
real,
to
for real.
my illustration series. So these are
Oh my
like
gosh.
series I talk about when I made for Patreon.
Ooh, mercy.
So these are the stuff I have done.
Oh,
There's a-
that's good. Oh, it made me freeze. Y'all, I froze in place. Look at that.
and
Come on.
then
Come
you just
on. Oh,
skip over to my original stuff that I finally was able to publish in my book.
oh my
Uh,
goodness.
this is like
Love it. Love it.
the key art, and this is like the more of the key art right here.
Mm.
Like the characters, like the versus profile I have set up,
Oh, that's
and
beautiful.
these are all like the character win poses and everything.
So much. Look, okay. And thank you so much for sharing that. Let me add something right now, y'all. Uh, Look at the like examples of inspiration up in there. Like, I'm looking at it through the lens of an artist, being an artist myself. And we have a lot of artists that are young that tune into Dream Aloud Art. They're youthful or just someone who is like beginning, no matter what the age is, but you can
Right.
catch so much inspiration, y'all. So it's like when you purchase books like that, depending on, again, your path, but when you purchase books like that, it gives you inspiration. It
Right.
gives you different ideas, and
Right.
not only ideas for yourself, but not only ideas for your own style, but ideas as far as what else you can do with what you've created. So that's so good. Oh my gosh, huge shout out to you, Christian. That's
No problem.
really awesome. That is so amazing. I'm just so
Yeah, and
taken. I wasn't ready.
yeah,
I thought
yeah.
I was a little ready, but I wasn't ready. It's so good.
Thank you so much. Yeah, and I figure like, it's for people because like a lot of people like my art, when I go to cons, like I would do it like a whole special
Mm,
thing. It's like two two for 20. Like if you buy two, you get one for free print. I just
right.
like to give these prints away.
Yeah. Yeah.
So a lot of people will collect a lot of my art. So I was just like, oh, let me just put an artwork together so it'd be easy for them. So all the artwork they want is actually in
Is
the
in
book. So,
one.
and I do a special bill for that art book as well at
Mm.
cons. Like if you buy 6 prints, you can get the art book for free. So,
Okay, I need for you. Who listen? What's okay? Hold on. Do you have another con that you're going to attend, or you plan on attending coming up here soon? I don't know
there's a
what's out
couple
there
of
nowadays.
there's a couple of cons that I have been able to sign up for. I think
Okay.
I just signed up for the independent comics. I think that's happening in August. The one in
Okay.
the Brooklyn industry. That one industry
Ooh.
series, yeah. And then there's Brooklyn Comic Con. I'm always exhibiting there every single year. So of course,
Hmm.
I best believe I'm probably gonna have a table there, and I'm definitely gonna be selling my prints and everything and my
That's
art book.
what's up. Oh my gosh. Okay, so Brooklyn got a con every year. I didn't know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's definitely it's getting very popular. It's becoming it's a local con, of course, so
Okay,
it's not
right.
like that big, but
Right,
it
right.
is getting a
That's
lot of
cool.
attention and everything.
Yeah.
I would say for me, it's becoming the alternative to New York Comic Con. It could be one day.
Mm.
So
Mm. Oh, I love that. But y'all listen here. Are you hearing the consistency here? Right? Like there's consistency, and because Christian, now I feel like I'm teaching because I've also taught elementary kids,
right.
right? Like, but this is how I'm gonna break it down in a very basic way. But do you see how Christian is consistent because he's doing things that's very natural for him, and when it's
Right.
natural it when things are natural to you, to someone else it may look labor intensive because maybe that's not for them, but for you, effortless. It's like you're ready, you keep up with these things, you're on it, you're consistent. I love it. Go ahead, Christian. I'm so excited for you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
yeah, that's what's up. I'm gonna have to, and we'll talk a little bit more here after interview because I'm curious if you know a couple of other artists. They're black comic artists that they're pretty. They're I don't even know how to explain it. I'm like they're pretty popular, but social media is social media. You come across people who have like a gabillion followers and you've never heard of them in your life, right?
right.
But there are some black comic artists that I would really love to link you up with, just so you get familiar with their work. At least just check out their page. So yeah, that's good stuff. And yeah, they're very consistent, just like you. I love to see consistency. And they've been doing what they're doing for years and years
Right.
and years. So yeah, big shout out to you. All righty. So y'all, it's just been a pleasure. And we're going to dive into our word game. And y'all know I love the word game. It is what it is. But yeah, we're gonna do our word game to relax the vibe as we close it out, and then we're gonna gather some shout outs that Christian Max wants to give to his folks out here. So for those that do not know the word game, all right, it's always interesting. All right, but for those who do not know what it's all about, I'm simply gonna say a word. And then Christian is going to respond with the very first word that comes to his mind. And he's got to respond in 3 seconds or less. And then once he says a word, then I will respond with a word and we'll just go back and forth. All right. The whole point of this is to say, what comes most natural to you, right? If you can't think of something within 3 seconds, you're going into overthinking. All right. And we ain't gonna do none of that. Not on this YouTube channel. No. All right. So, Christian Mack, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Gotta be, right? You gotta be. We've made it this far.
Okay.
All right. So, I'm going to start with the word. Let me see if I can link it to something on your monster.
uh Godzilla.
Big.
Big. Robot.
uh Metal.
Metal. Sword.
Weapon.
Weapon. Gun.
Safety.
Safety. Police.
Occupation. That was so layered.
Occupation. Blue collar worker.
Um, Food.
Food. Grocery.
Publix.
Public. Um, Train.
Oh, I don't know. I can't. I'm going into overthinking. Oh, you got me. Oh my goodness, you got me on that one. I'm like, train? Like, I don't know what to say. So, like, I said Publix. And I was like, oh yeah, he's not gonna think of anything after Publix. Like that's too like I've called out a specific grocery store. All right, you got me in tears. Oh my gosh, you have me in tears. All right,
Oh,
so I know
sorry.
I know that. No, no, no. This is look, I've been doing like interviews for years, and when I get to that point of like laughing and I'm crying, oh, we're definitely doing something right. Trust and believe. Yes, I have made it to that point. Oh my gosh, Christian Mack, it has been so awesome. Who are some people that you want to give some shout outs to?
I want to shout out to some of my favorite artists who's
Mhm.
definitely been an inspiration to me, and some of them you actually interview. I want to give a shout out to Nicola D. Vespery. He's been my biggest inspiration. He's the reason why I even like
Mm.
started to draw more black characters and actually engage in more black character. Shout out to Metallica. I've been following him for years. Like he's also my
Oh,
main for drawing black characters as well.
yeah, I
I
know
want
who
to
that
give
is.
yeah, I want to give a shout out to my teacher Anthony Marquez, who's now currently
Mhm.
principal and head runner of the Joe Kuber School. You know, he's not only my mentor, my teacher, but he's my best friend. And
Oh
you know,
man.
without his guidance, I would not be the artist that I would be today. And I want to give a very huge shout out to my mom for being my support system, for being my rock, for not only having empathy for my craftsmanship
Yeah.
and willing to support me, but also be my pedestal to, to strive to be the best artist I can be. So,
I love that. I love that. Yes, big so that's a y'all know I love all the artists that I've interviewed, but yo, that's a deep shout out, y'all. Like that was so genuine. Like that's definitely top three shout outs that I've ever heard, if not like the top one. That was just a very genuine shout out because I'm like invested in the shout out. I was like, oh my gosh, yes, big shout out. Like I was just agreeing with you for all of that. Y'all, thank you so much for tuning in. Christian Mack, I appreciate you. Thank you for your time. I
no problem.
really do appreciate it. I really do. And getting on this like interview again, I like it's so important for me to have that genuine. I'm like now I'm about to go into a spiel now. I'm trying to say bye, right? But yeah, to have that really genuine interest and admiration for
Right,
the artists that I am interviewing. And so yeah, I really admire what you're doing. You know, the C word, consistency. I love that. I see that. And so all I see is growth from this
right.
point forward. Not that you won't have a challenge or two, but let that be used as part of your growth. Like
No
that's where we
problem.
at with it, you know?
Yeah, that's how we at.
So good. So good. All right, y'all. Links, activate all those links, dive into the world of Christian Mack art, get to know him, give him a follow, give him a DM if he'll allow that. And I'm sure more than likely you will. Give him a DM and support him on his ventures. We are going to say peace, y'all. And me and Christian Mack are going to stick around. All right. So I'll see y'all on the next Dream Aloud Art YouTube video. And remember that RTA stands for Respect the Artist. All right, y'all. Peace. Love y'all. Creatives, it has been both a pleasure and an honor to have you sit in on our conversation today. So, will you be the next artist interviewed? Visit respecttheartist.com/artist-interviews to learn more. And hopefully, I'll see you soon. RTA stands for Respect the Artist. Love y'all.